Hello, fam. How are you doing? I hope all is well with you. I'm doing great. A bit exhausted and tired, of course, because I am back to the grind, back to school, back to work with hectic schedule, right? So it is what it is. Such is the story of my life. Anyhow, before I start, I wanted to make a little correction. Last time we spoke, I told you this joke about me with the dogs, my neighbor's dogs, somewhere. Few blocks away. Um, I remember I told you that I ran into a cemetery. Correction. There's no way on this earth that would have happened, first of all, because it's a cemetery. I ran into a graveyard. It looks like it's a family, it's a family lot because all the tombstones have the same, they have the same last names. So that's where I ran into. Because I don't know if I would have went to a grave to a cemetery if my life was in danger. Perhaps just, if it was for me to be alive, perhaps I would have done that. But I'm not quite sure that I would have went into a cemetery. A graveyard, okay. And what I forgot to tell you, what was so funny about it is that when the puppies were after me, just running after me, first of all, it seems like they thought it was a joke because they stood there, they're looking at me doing the bathroom dance in the graveyard, and they're just looking at me jumping up and down and barking. So I think for them, we were playing together, like we were playing hide and seek. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. And it looks like most of my jokes rather, are going to involve dogs because there are a lot of dogs in this subdivision. And because of that, so a few of them definitely will include the dogs. For example, not too long ago, while I was, doing my morning walk or whatnot, and I wasn't having a good time, I was fine by myself until a dog walked by, right? All right, so the dog is walking. I'm walking behind the dog. I didn't feel like crossing the street. I wanted to walk on this side, so I stayed behind about a few feet away from the dog, right? So the dog stops. I stop because I was trying to figure out why did he or she stop. Um, okay, then the dog got up and started walking again. Okay, fine. So I did the same thing. The dog stops and I stop. Then after a few of that, this little game that this dog is playing with me, I asked the owner, why is the dog stopping? Why does it he or the dog what does keep stopping? Um and she said, well, because it's a she, it was a female dog. Well, because she wants to play with you. The dog literally stopped and lay on the floor and roll on her back for me to scratch her and play with her. I was like, "Oh, that is so sweet, but I'm sorry, I can't play with the dog because I don't I don't play with dogs. I'm so sorry." That was so nice of her though. Oh, and then I crossed the street. I walk and then I continue my walk on the other side. I said, "You know what? I'm tired." I mean, but I said, the devil is a liar because I need to walk. I need peace. I need to be by myself and walk peacefully without any more interruption from the dogs. I have my earphones on. I mean, I've literally done everything that I could think of. I've exhausted every resources that I have. But I was like, you know what? Enough of the dogs. Let me just concentrate on doing what I have to do. And it was funny. To me, it was very interesting. It was amusing, and it was very entertaining. Why would the dog think that I want to scratch you? First of all, I want to play with you. I'm walking. You know, I was like, oh gosh, this is exhausting. But I walked home, and I was just laughing and smiling because I'm like, oh my gosh, Lord, these dogs are killing me. Please keep them home. Let me walk first and then you can come out after because I am not going to play with you, first of all. And you are not going to have me run into a graveyard again. That's not going to happen again. I'm not going to do the bathroom dance at the graveyard again, like those two little puppies. And another thing that happened is this: my husband and I we went to do something, and I showed him. I pointed out the dogs were actually they were walking. I said, "Oh, those are the little puppies who ran after me." And he looked at me and said, "Those little things?" And then you were scared. I said, "Okay, this is not the point. Well, focus. The point is there were big sized puppies running after me. That's it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't overthink it. Just walk with me here. So don't do that. I want you to feel my pain, okay? That I want you to sympathize with me, not with the dog. Sympathize with me. But anyway, so that's all the story about the dog. So now I go home. I go home and my son, my little one, Alex, he said, "Mommy, I have a story for you." I said, "Really? Oh, okay. I love stories, please." So I sat down and I said, "Okay, so what's the story?" And he said, "Okay, once upon a time in the Bible." I was like, "Oh, okay, it's from the Bible." He said, "Yeah, it's in." He could not pronounce Ecclesiastes, so I did it for him. I helped him out, and he said it is found in. I had to say the word for him. Chapter 3. I said, "Okay, go ahead." Then he started to read. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 3. The title, A Time for Everything. Then he started to read. There is a time for everything, mommy, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot. He loved that part because the plant behind me, that's his. And it's like, it's a time to plant, like the plant that I planted outside. I was like, okay. And a time to uproot, a time to kill, and a time to heal. Well, I don't know about that part because, I don't want to kill anybody. A time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And it goes on and on and on. I will encourage you to finish reading it. The reason why I wanted to share this with you is this. Um, I the last time we spoke, I read this I read those 7 habits, I believe, that I took a picture of when I went to Crown Honda to have, to do service in my car. And while I was waiting, it was framed out under one of the sales rep desk. So I was being a little bit nosy and I took a picture of it and I shared those words with you. I shared the 7 habits with you. Like, like make sure, be careful with the friends you associate yourself with, and, read a lot of books and so on and so forth. And also, and I wanted to include that with it. It's just to know that life in everything that we do, part of our lives is like compiled of phases, just like in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, a time for everything. There's a time for everything, a time for every single thing. It's a season of of life. And in this season that I'm in right now, I am open up myself more to embrace, to receive every blessings that God has for me. And I am encouraging you to do the same. Whether it's right now the season that you're, whether it kind of look bleak, just know that it's temporary. It's not going to last long you, unless you just, you prolonged it, because sometimes the season is very short, but because we don't, because I should say, not you, because um I worry, or I my lack of faith, I continue to, oh my God, this is happening. And instead of being for it was like a season for 1 month or 2 months, it it prolonged because of the way that I react towards it. And so I'm encouraging you to know that if you are in a season, perhaps it is bleak, just know that it is temporary. Do not make any um lifelong decision on something that is temporary. That's one. And also, just know that this particular season or whatever it is there to teach you something. It is there to teach me something. Whatever I go through in life, that's the way I am looking at it now. Um, it is a lesson. It is to teach me something. It's either to teach me something about myself, it is or to build me up, like it says, a time to tear down and a time to build, like a tear down and pruning and pruning and just take out whatever needs to be taken out, you understand, and a time to build so that the character that God wants me to have, this character will blossom. That particular character will that's what's going to flourish. And so this is my season. This is the season that I'm in, the time to tear down and a time to build. And I am so looking forward to see what God is getting ready to do. And I am open. I am ready, in fact, to receive that into full capacity of what He is attending to do in my life today, just today, in this particular season. And so I want to leave that with you. I hope you ponder upon it and also take it in, as you know, along with my stories with the dogs. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have another one because they're always out there at the same time that I'm trying to have a peaceful moment, like a lonely moment to myself. But anyway, I pray that you have a wonderful weekend. And as we go back to school and everybody else trying to get back into sort of a quote unquote normal life, that everything will go well with you and everything will go well with everybody, especially the kids going back to school in person. And of course, until next time, I always gonna encourage you to do self-care, to practice self-care, take care of yourself first, and of course, lavish love, lavish a lot of love to yourself, self-love first of all, because you cannot give what you do not have. Have a beautiful weekend and a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. All right, bye bye.